In this video, we're going to be practicing cross multiplication, but we're going to step it up today, and we're going to be using decimals to review what you learned last year and to make sure that you can handle a more difficult cross multiplication problem. So the first step I'm going to take is I'm going to draw my equal sign with the parentheses on each side. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if it's proportion, and I need to look for the equal sign. So if I see an equal sign, I see two fractions, and I see this missing variable, I know I can use cross multiplication to find the value of this missing variable. I'm going to start by multiplying across the m by the 0.8. And you want to put the variable second and the number in the front, so the coefficient in front and the variable second. And then I'm going to multiply across this way, and I'll plug in the 12.8 here and the 1.8 here. And here is where we need to do a little review of multiplying with decimals. So multiplying with decimals is just like you would multiply when you have a number that doesn't have a decimal. In fact, if I were to multiply 128 by 18, I would get the same answer as when I multiply 12.8 times 1.8. It's just I'd have to pay attention at the end about where the decimal went. So we're going to start by multiplying all of these numbers by 8. So 8 times 8 is 64, carry the 6. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 6 gives us 22, carry the 2. 1 multiplied by 8 is 8, plus 2 gives us 10. Then you need, on the second line, a 0 to hold the place. And then now we're going to be multiplying by this 1. So 8 times 1 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. And then we need to add these values together. So we get 4. 8 plus 2 is 10. Carry the 1. 2 plus 0 plus 1 is 3. And 1 plus 1 is 2. If I were to multiply this, I'd also get 2,304. But since there's two decimals up here, we count 1 decimal place, 2 decimal places. There were 2 places total, so I have to move the decimal over twice at the end and place it between the 3 and the 0. So the product on the left side is 23 and 400ths. Or you could say 23.04. And on the right, 0.8 times m is 0.8m. So we've completed step 2. Step 3 says divide both sides by the coefficient. So these are being multiplied, and the inverse of multiplication, the opposite of multiplication, is division. So we divide each side by the number that is keeping m from being alone. So now we need to work on a little bit of division. So I need to give myself some room. So I'm going to erase the work I have here, just so I have room on the video to show you how to take 23.04 and divide it by 0.8. Alright, now it's fine to have a decimal underneath this house. It's not okay to have a decimal on the outside. So I have to move the decimal on the outside. You move it to the right. If I move this decimal once, I also have to move this decimal once. And I'm going to rewrite this as, now I have 8 on the outside, and now the decimal inside the 2304 is after the 0 and before the 4, so between the 0 and the 4. And now I can start dividing. 8 goes into 2 0 times. 8 goes into 23 twice. 2 times 8 is 16. and then I borrow from the 2, make it a 1, and add 10 to the 3, making it a 13. 13 minus 6 is 7. 1 minus 1 is 0. I can't ask the question till I bring down a number. 8 goes into 70. Well, let's think about it. 8 times 8 is 64, and 8 times 9 is 72. So it's 8 times 8 is what will work here, because 8 times 9 was too much. 70 minus 64 is 6, and then I bring down the 4. 8 goes into 64 8 times. And I have nothing left over. I also need to bring the decimal up to the top. So 230.4 divided by 8 is equal to 28.8. So the quotient, which is the result of a division problem, is 28.8. Recall that 0.8 divided by 0.8, anything divided by itself is going to equal 1. So we're left with 1m, which is the same as m, equals 28.8. And we just completed cross multiplication with some decimal values.